sharing the screen. Nectar of Devotion is the book we are reading. So we are reading introduction and we have read some portions. Let's see how we continue. Yes, we have it read, I think. This only have to explain, right? Correct? The definition of a pure devotee as given by Srila Goswami and Bhakti can be summarized thus: his service is favorable and is always in relation to Krishna. In order to keep the purity of such Krishna conscious activities, one must be freed from all material desires and philosophical speculation. Any desire except for the service of the Lord is called material desire. It's a nice definition. So if you have any desire which is not related to service of the Lord, that is material desire. And philosophical speculation refers to sort of speculation which ultimately arrives at the conclusion of voidism and impersonalism. So many times when people don't take shelter of Guru Parampara, authorized Guru Parampara, but they only speculate on absolute truth, then they get to some kind of conclusion of impersonalism and voidism. This is what happens to people. So it is very difficult to come to the right understanding of God being a supreme personality of God. It's very, very difficult. It's only possible for those who take shelter of the Supreme Lord. Correct? So, or who take shelter of the Guru Parampara, isn't it? So when any person, be a child, can easily understand, the highest truth of Krishna being the supreme personality of Godhead, just by hearing the message in Guru Parampara, becomes so easy. So this conclusion is useless for a Krishna conscious person. Only rarely by philosophical speculation can one reach the conclusion of worshipping Vasudeva Shri Krishna. Rarely Prabhupada is saying. It's almost like impossible. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita itself. The ultimate end of philosophical speculation then must be Krishna. So that's why he says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavanamam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudulabha. After many, many births, those who are trying to speculate, have philosophical speculation, may come to the platform of understanding Vishnu, but that also very rare. Hardly somebody may come. So by philosophical speculation, very, very difficult. The best way is simply take shelter of a bona fide devotee of the Lord. Immediately he can become, truly situated in his real understanding of life or real conclusions of life. Immediately he'll understand about what is absolute truth, very clearly. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita itself. The ultimate end of philosophical speculation then must be Krishna, with the understanding that Krishna is everything, cause of all causes. Sa Mahatma Sudalabha, Vasudeva Sarvamiti, and that one should therefore surrender unto him. If this ultimate goal is reached, then philosophical advancement is favorable. But if the conclusion of philosophical speculation is voidism or impersonalism, that is not bhakti. So if all our study and everything is leading to some kind of voidism and impersonalism, that is not true bhakti. So all the practice and study and whatever we are thinking, contemplating, it should lead to our increasing devotion for the Lord, enhancement of devotional service. And that is only possible when we are when we are studying the philosophical things, and when we are contemplating, reflecting under the guidance of a bona fide Guru. When we are guided by Guru Parampara. Yeah, like devotee also write books. They also think about, they also contemplate, they also reflect. But they do it not whimsically. They do it under the guidance of Guru Parampara. So that kind of thing is okay. Like, say suppose, we read Gita and we read Bhagavatam, then we are thinking, how Krishna is present everywhere. Krishna is, through his, how can I experience Krishna more through his energies? All these things we think also, we contemplate, we go. But this is all after we receive the knowledge from Guru Parampara. Then we think. That is very good. That way we grow when we think deeply like that. But so that kind of thinking is having a direction. But there is directionless thinking, where the conclusion is not known. Without knowing the conclusion, you are thinking and then trying to arrive the conclusion. So when you get Guru Parampara, then the conclusion we know before only. And then you can think, how can we apply that conclusion in our life. That is good. That is that scope of thinking is there for everyone. Correct, no? Like that. So ultimate goal is Krishna. So, okay. Can you read further? Prashant, would you like to read? Okay. You can read? Okay. Read.
Karma or fruitive activities are sometimes understood to be ritualistic activities. There are many persons who are very much attracted by the ritualistic activities described in the Vedas. But if one becomes attracted simply to ritualistic activities without understanding Krishna, his activities are unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. Actually, Krishna consciousness can be based simply on hearing, chanting, remembering, etc. Described in the Srimad Bhagavatam are 9 different processes, besides which everything done is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. Thus, one should always be guarding against fall downs.
Yeah. So what is saying that so there's jnana karma anavritam is saying, no? So that means one's devotion should not be covered by jnana and karma. By philosophical speculation, one should not get misled to the right conclusion of devotion service. That kind of jnana is dangerous. That's why I was saying that no, you can have thoughts, you can have reflection, contemplation, all based on Guru Parampara's guidance, Guru what conclusion they we receive from them. So then that kind of knowledge what we're getting is not covering our devotion. That is either helping our devotion. Same way there are rituals. There are so much of karma kanda rituals. Sometimes when we become too much into that, then it may cover the devotion part. Like suppose sometimes somebody may become too ritualistic, and he says that okay, because this kind of thing is going on, this puja is going on, so I cannot chant. I cannot. No, he may give more importance to the rituals, and then he may say that no, okay, I cannot chant right now because this is going on. I'm in contaminated state. I cannot do. So that means he doesn't have proper faith in the understanding of, I mean, what the scriptures are saying or what Guru is saying, what Guru Parampara is giving the knowledge. So one may sometimes overly get carried away by the ritualistic ideas of about Vedas than having focus on devotional service. Because devotional service is the topmost. So sometimes great kings also may perform some rituals, some kind of karma kanda, some kind of worship of where some demigods also may worship. But they have full understanding that these demigods are servants of the Lord. And just to keep the upkeep of tradition, social tradition, they may be involved there. But they only worship the Supreme Lord. And they know that all demigods are nothing but they're assisting the Supreme Lord, and respecting them is not a problem. But there are people who too much get into demigod worship or some kind of rituals, karma kanda, and they forget, the whole purpose of their rituals and everything. They only then get carried away. So that covers their, devotion actually. Like if you see our, there is a story of narration of the Yajnik Brahmanas. They were actually performing so much of worship, not worship, rituals, and so much rituals. But when the Krishna Balaram came to ask for food, they said, no, 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 my yajna is not completed. So they became ritualistic. They became so ritualistic, bound by all the rules and regulations. But they forgot the purpose only for what they are. Ultimately, all the rituals, all the sacrifices meant for pleasing Lord. Now, Lord is himself come and asking for, begging for the food, but they are not ready to give. So they lost the whole understanding actually. So rituals sometimes those become too ritualistic, may forget the purpose of all the rituals to please Krishna. So that is covering the devotion that way. So that's why karma and jnana should not cover our devotion. Jnana karma di anavritam. Yes. You can read further, Prashant bro. You like to read further? Okay, Xavier bro, you like to read?
Srila Rupa Goswami has also mentioned in this definition of bhakti the word
Jnana karmadi.
Jnana Kamardi. This Kamadi, fruitive work, consists of activities which are unable to help one attain to pure devotional service. Many forms of so-called renunciation are also not favorable to Krishna consciousness devotional service. Srila Rupa Goswami has also quoted a definition from the Narada Pancharatra as follows. One should be free from all material designations, and by Krishna consciousness must be cleansed of all material contaminations. He should be restored to his pure identity, in which he engages his senses in the service of the proprietor of the senses. So when our senses are engaged for the actual proprietor of senses, that is called devotional service. In our conditional state.
There is a verse, Rishikena Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. Yeah. Yeah, Rishikena Sevanam Bhakti. There is a verse actually. Yeah. Go ahead.
In our conditional state, our senses are engaged in serving these bodily demands. When the same senses are engaged in executing the order of Krishna, our activities are called bhakti. As long as one identifies himself as belonging to a certain family, a certain society, or a certain person, he is said to be covered with designations. When one is fully aware that he does not belong to any family, society, or country, but is eternally related to Krishna, then he then realizes that his energy should be employed not in the interest of so-called family, society, or country, but in the interest of Krishna. This is purity of purpose and the platform of pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness.
Yes, correct. So it's beautiful purport actually. So what it's saying, so this is Sarvopadhi Vinirmaktam, Tak Tarkpartyan Nirmalam, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanabhati. That's what the meaning of this verse. One should free from all material designation and serve the Lord with all his senses. Should engage all his senses in the service of the Lord. Understanding such senses belongs to the Lord. The senses engage in the actual property of the senses, it's called devotional service. In our conditional state, our senses are engaged in service, serving these bodily demands. We serve the lust, anger, greed, pride, all that we serve. The same senses are engaged in the order of Krishna, then our activities are called bhakti. As long as one identifies himself as belonging to a certain family, a certain society, for a certain person, he's said to be covered with designations. See, and everybody is serving, but designations, not Krishna. When one is fully aware that he does not belong to any family, society, country, but is eternally related to Krishna, he then realizes that his energy should be employed not in interest of so-called family, society, or country, but in the interest of Krishna. This is purity of purpose, and the platform of pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness. Clear, no? So the energy is employed in the interest not of his so-called family, but in the interest of Krishna. So your family also you have to see as a family of Krishna. So you have to see everything in connection with Krishna, and you should have the core desire to please Krishna in all your activities actually. So, and there should be, and that is only possible when you have really core things to do for the pleasure of Krishna. That is chanting Hare Krishna, reading Gita, reading Bhagavatam, performing devotional service. When you have this thing, very clearly in your life, in your schedule, then only you will have strength to do other activities also for the pleasure of Krishna. So there's other activities, not other activities. You actually see nothing in this kind. Like a devotee feels he sees his family as Krishna's family, and he will act in such a way that it is beneficial for his upliftment of Krishna consciousness, family upliftment of Krishna consciousness. That's what he will act in his life, in his situation. So this is the purity of purpose. So our purpose, we have to become more and more clear that I really want to be Krishna conscious. That's my ultimate purpose. And see how whosoever whichever situation you are in, that is favorable for my Krishna consciousness and others' Krishna consciousness. This is the only motive should be there. But to have that, first we should have our exclusive, program for uplifting our consciousness, that is chanting. So chanting we should never miss. So keeping a slot for chanting and doing it properly, and then we do other activities for the pleasure of Krishna, like Mahamanusmra Yuddhacha, Krishna told Arjuna. So you fight by remembering me. He said like that. Okay, I'll pause here because ending the chapter. We'll start from the fresh next tomorrow. So any reflection anybody has? Let's hear one more reflection. And we can pause for the day.
So becoming attracted to simply to becoming attracted simply to ritualistic activities without understanding Krishna are unfavorable to Krishna consciousness.
Correct.
And then, yeah. And then Krishna consciousness can be based simply on hearing, chanting, remembering, etc.
Yes, the point he proposes here. Very simple. Krishna consciousness is simply based on. So when you do hearing, chanting, remembering very nicely, then you can see the whole Krishna consciousness pervades in all activities of your life. Yeah, so we should not give up chanting, hearing, no matter what. Every day we should have some quota for hearing, chanting. Like you're coming for the class, you're hearing. And there should be chanting also. Like that. Yes, Prashant Prabhu. Very good, Prashant Prabhu. Prashant Prabhu. Okay. Puna Mataji, you want to share?
Yeah, we have to surrender Krishna because he is the cause of all causes. And Krishna conscious is simply the hearing, chanting, and remembering, etc. When our senses are engaged for the culture, actual proprietor of the service, that is called devotional service. When our senses are engaged in the fruitive activities, then it is not the bhakti. We have to do our senses in the Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
That is called bhakti.
Yes. Correct. And such a unique Krishna service, that is called bhakti. That's true. Yes, Prashant, you want to share?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I was cooking as well, but yeah, the first point which you mentioned that one needs to be more Krishna consciousness than be like attached to material things in the first paragraph.
Okay.
That's what I can reflect today.
Okay, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay, let us pause. So, Xavier Prabhu, let me know if you're able to come tomorrow.
Okay.
Try if you can.
All right.
No pressure, but just try if possible.
Okay.
4:45 Aarti, and then we'll chant. By 8:30 you can leave if you want. You can take
Yeah. I'll try. I have to, I have to go over to my buddy's house. He left it in his mailbox, so I have to go pick it up before. Yeah.
Okay. No problem. See if you're able to. Let me know. Okay.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.